You are listening to the Fit Figure Formula podcast. I help female perfectionists beat self-sabotage and lose the weight for good using the Fit Figure Formula coaching program. I'm your host, Stephanie Riles, registered dietitian, personal trainer, and mindset transformation coach. If you've been struggling with all or nothing thinking, negative self-talk, or self-sabotage, this is the podcast for you. Learn how to get consistent and become the best version of yourself from the inside out. So let's get started. Hello and welcome to episode 69. It's your favorite macros and mindset coach, Coach Steph. Thanks for joining me today. If you're new to me, I am the host of the Fit Figure Formula podcast, and I have a coaching program that is 16 weeks long where I help female perfectionists to beat self-sabotage and lose the weight for good. And one of the ways that we self-sabotage is we talk ourselves out of our habits and thus talk ourselves out of our goals. And today I'm going to talk about quality questions. And this is something that I teach my clients inside of the formula. This is a way for us to self-coach. When I talk about self-coaching, this is how you can recognize and be more aware of how your self-talk, the sentences that are running around in your brain, are causing you to take action that is either in your best interest or outside of your best interest. Learning how to self-coach is going to help you hold yourself accountable, because people always say, oh, I need accountability. I need accountability. And there is a time and a place for that. But you being able to trust in yourself that you can hold yourself accountable is a life skill. And this is what I teach my clients inside the formula, because y'all, it's not super difficult. It's actually very simple to eat healthy food, to take a walk each day, to go and lift up some weights. Not easy. It's simple, right? It's simple to do those things. And we all kind of know like what are some healthy habits that we should be really consistent with. And there's a gap between knowing what to do and then actually doing it. So after listening to this episode, you're going to be able to help hold yourself accountable a lot better. You'll gain more awareness of how you are sabotaging right now. And I'm going to give you some quality questions to help move yourself along in your health journey. So first, before we get started, have you left a 5-star review for the podcast? This helps my podcast. It tells your podcast platform that you enjoy this podcast, and it will send it and recommend it to more people who might be struggling with the same thing as you. So if you have not done that, take a second or two and review and rate the podcast, and also give it a share. If you've already reviewed or given it a 5-star rating, thank you so much. I'm going to be checking comments and also the iPhone platform and giving you guys shout out. This is going to be a really good episode to share because it's going to help somebody that you care about get unstuck. If you or someone you know is feeling stuck, make sure that you share this podcast, because the way that you get unstuck is by learning how to self-coach. And this is just one of the many ways that I teach my clients. So we have written a 5-star review, and now let's get into the episode. So the quality of your life is going to depend on the quality of your questions and how you talk to yourself. I want you guys to start being more aware of what sentences are running around in your brain. And so think of specific times, like for example, when you step on the scale, when you look in the mirror, when you're going to go, take a shower, when you go to try on clothes, right? What are the sentences that are running around in your brain that you may not even think? They just automatically pop up. And a lot of times we don't question those sentences. We just kind of are so enmeshed in the thought. But that thought creates a vibration in our body called a feeling or an emotion. And when we have thoughts that make us feel disappointed, frustrated, upset, we have a tendency to shut down, to micro quit, to self-sabotage. I have a whole episode on negative self-talk. I'll go ahead and link the negative self-talk podcast. I forget the number of it, so I'll put it in the show notes, but that's a really, really good one to listen to as well if you are struggling with this. But when no one is watching, when no one's around, what are you saying to yourself? What are you whispering? What are you thinking about? What is that inner voice telling you? Is she encouraging you? Is she putting you down? Is she beating herself up, or is she lifting herself up? So I just want you to start practicing some of these quality questions and then stop asking yourself what I call dead end questions. So I don't know if you realize this, but questions are the answer. I have been coaching for several years now, right? And I can shift a client from talking about a lot of negative things that happened in the week to talking about more positive things in the week just by the questions that I ask. I call myself a professional question asker. And one of the reasons why questions are so powerful is because sometimes I'll ask a client a question and they'll say, oh, I've never thought about it like that, or I've never thought about that before. And I'm like, woohoo, great, amazing, because neuroplasticity is real. So when you have never actually thought about an answer or thought through a question, you kind of stop talking. You kind of look up to the right or left corner of your brain and you're just kind of like, huh? Right? You have that look, kind of like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, perfect. Here's a great opportunity to think about this in a different way. Quality questions are going to shape your perspective. It's going to inform what you are looking for, right? So if you're looking for ways that you're failing, ways that your week went horrible, ways that you messed up, you're going to find it, right? And so what we ask determines what we focus on, and what we focus on determines our actions. So oftentimes perfectionists will ask questions that are rooted in defeat or rooted in shame. So it's like when you ask a dead-end question, there's nowhere to go but down because of the intention of the question, right? It's like, why can't I ever get consistent? Well, let's see. Sometimes I'll ask my clients, like when they're asking themselves dead-end questions, I'm like, well, did you answer your brain, or are you just asking this question to be condescending to yourself, right? It's like, why can't I ever be consistent? The answers that you get from that question are not going to help move you forward. It's going to make you feel bad, like you just can't do it, right? Like, why can't you ever? Is that even true? You're just never consistent? That's not even a real thing. That's not even true. There are times when you are consistent, because consistency is not perfection, remember? So if you were to answer your brain, why can't I ever be consistent? Number one, I would say, that's not true. There are times when I'm consistent. So that question actually isn't a real question. You might say, oh, well, because I have a really busy schedule, right? The answer to that, having a busy schedule, is just like, all right, cool. She figured it out. She has a busy schedule. A better question would be, what are the things that help me be consistent? Right? How can I do those things more often? Dead-end questions close the door on growth. They close the door on progress. They close the door on options. They close the door on opportunities to see yourself differently, to do things differently, to get a better perspective, to reflect. Dead-end questions can trigger emotional eating or even quitting. Quality questions create curiosity. They create compassion and more clarity. Think about when you get more clarity on something. So maybe you overate, and instead of just being like, dang, I'm so dumb, why do I always do that? Asking yourself, what was I feeling right before I ate that? Like, what was my trigger? Had I eaten all day and then something happened that stressed me out and I went and overate, right? If you get more clear, oh, okay, if I can identify my trigger, then I can problem solve that trigger, right? I can make sure that I'm eating on time, that I take my lunch to work, that I don't skip meals so that I'm not too hungry and then get stressed. I can build an emotional eating strategy. So when I do feel like, oh, I'm about to emotionally eat, I can use my powerful pause and I can execute my emotional eating replacement behavior. When you get more clarity, you can troubleshoot, which is going to help you make more empowered choices instead of just throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I was coaching a client the other day, and she told me that she had a horrible week, and she proceeded to tell me all the things that went wrong that week. And I listened to her. And then I said, all right, what went well last week? And she leaned back in her seat and she kind of looked up at the sky. And it was just like really hard for her to think about, well, what did go well? She came up with some things. And I'm like, what you told me were several maybe bad, maybe inconvenient moments, right? But the way that you characterized it was the whole week was horrible. When if you actually got more clear on really what happened and looked at the facts, you can also look at your feelings as well. But like when you gain that clarity, you can say, okay, here are some things that didn't go well, but here are some things that did go well. Here's where I did show up as my best version. And that's going to help you stay consistent, find the motivation. And just remember, motivation is not butterflies. It's just the energy required to overcome the resistance of getting started or continuing, right? That's going to help you show up in your power. So let me give you some examples. So situation, you overeat or binge. You could ask yourself a dead-end question like, what's wrong with me? The answer to that question is not going to help you, but you could ask a quality question and say, what was I feeling right before I ate that? Another situation, you skipped a workout. You could ask yourself a dead-end question like, why am I so lazy? Or you could ask a quality question like, what can I do tomorrow to make movement easier and more enjoyable? Doesn't that shift your entire energy? Think about the sentence or the question, why am I so lazy? It's already being presumptive. You've already labeled yourself, right? There's a deep belief there that if you don't do something, that you're lazy. There's nowhere to go with that question. There's nowhere to go with the answer. But if I ask myself, all right, I missed my workout today. Tomorrow, how can I make movement easier? When you lean into quality questions, you're going to get a better outcome. Another situation, you're frustrated by slow progress. You could ask yourself, why isn't this working? Or you can say, what data do I have that shows progress beyond the scale? Y'all know that you cannot just look at the scale, okay? Another situation, you're emotionally eating. Dead-end question, why can't I control myself? Quality question, what do I actually need right now? Right? Do I need comfort? Do I need rest? Do I need connection? That is one of the most loving questions that you could ask yourself. It's kind of like asking your inner child, what do you need? And like giving her a hug. And I feel like sometimes we really need that. Like if you really sat and thought about all the times that you actually needed encouragement, you actually needed a hug, you actually needed somebody to uplift you, somebody to give you a pat on the back and say good job. Like we're ignoring all of that sometimes. And just asking the question, like, what do I actually need right now is such a loving question. Like asking that with such love for yourself. What do you need? Imagine giving yourself like a big hug, like what's wrong? What do you need? And really sitting with the question, really sitting with the answer, that requires some silence. That requires you to feel. There's a quote, if you want to feel better, you got to be willing to feel. And when you open yourself up to feeling, you're going to open yourself up to all the emotions, right? We can't feel only good feelings all the time. And so it's so important that we stop and we pause and we really ask ourselves quality questions. I love for my clients to do, this mindset work in the mornings. I call it a power hour. It's not an hour. It's just intentional time alone every morning. I got up early this morning. Matter of fact, it was about 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. And it just feels good to get up and have a slow roll to your morning where it's still kind of dark outside, but it's quiet in the house. It's one of my favorite times of the day. This is a perfect time to journal, to ask yourself quality questions. If you feel like you need some practice with quality questions, definitely get a guided journal that will help you. And the more that you work with a guided journal or get coached and are asked quality questions, the better questions you then can start coming up with yourself. And I think that this practice of self-coaching and asking quality questions is valuable when you can do it in the moment. So our power hour inside the formula is really about setting aside intentional time to think powerful thoughts on purpose so that your brain gets used to thinking that way, so that when you're triggered in the moment, you can go back to that powerful place. That is where the power is, because when you are in real life and things are happening and you feel emotional, you can remember, oh, you know what? I'm triggered right now. What do I need? What am I really after? And then you can give yourself that and support yourself in real time. It's a really beautiful journey. So dead-end questions are judgmental, and they're going to keep you feeling guilty, ashamed, defeated, and like you want to quit. Quality questions are solution-oriented, and it moves you toward your highest self. I say this all the time. Pay attention to how much you're talking about the problem regurgitating what's wrong, what did not go well? How much time are you spending being solution oriented? How much time are you spending workshopping the problem, asking quality questions, coaching yourself, moving forward and asking yourself, what's my next right move? That's a question that really helps a lot of my clients to not get overwhelmed. It's just like, okay, there's a lot to do, but what's my next best move? And I just have to focus there. And then when that's done, then I ask myself, what's the next right move? And that's going to help you be so much more present. It grounds you in this moment so that your brain is not in overdrive and anxiety trying to fix the future that isn't even here yet. Quality questions can really change your life. And so they're going to help you regulate your emotions instead of reacting or overreacting. They're going to help you avoid emotional eating because you can pause, you can get curious instead of criticizing yourself. They're going to help you develop self-discipline. Self-discipline is not about being hard on yourself. It's about being able to regulate yourself. It's about being able to master your habits. That doesn't mean we have to be mean to ourselves. I know for a lot of us as Black women, a lot of us were raised where, if you did something wrong, you got a whooping. And that was just that. There was no questions. There was no, okay, so what happened? No. So I feel like we kind of parent ourselves like that. I'm just now realizing that as I'm speaking, actually. I'm like, we just need to do it. I hear that all the time. Like, I just need to do it. I just need to stop being lazy and just be more disciplined. None of those statements are helpful at all. It's so important that you use the virtue of curiosity to really work through it. And the thing is, it's not like a one-time thing where you sit down and ask yourself a bunch of questions one time. This is an ongoing dialogue. This is an ongoing relationship, an invitation really to connect with yourself more often. This is going to help you lose weight. You thought that you were coming to talk to a dietitian about how I can eat more chicken and broccoli, how I can cut out sugar. You already know healthy foods to eat, right? I bet you can come up with 10 off the top of your head. This isn't about that. Yes, in the formula, I'm going to give you a strategy for macros so that you don't have to restrict yourself. I'm going to help you create a system and a lifestyle. But the best system is not going to work if you are asking yourself dead-end questions and sabotaging your progress and your habits and your behaviors. If you don't know how to self-regulate, the best strategy is just unhelpful. This is all about you. And this is why I love what I do, because inside the formula, this is you versus you. It's you and you. What kind of life do you want to live? What kind of body do you want to live in? How do you want to feel? The truth of the matter is we talk ourselves out of things all the time. You set your alarm for 5 a.m. You're going to talk yourself right out of getting up out of that bed. But guess what? What if you had the skill to talk yourself into an action instead, right? What kind of self-trust would you have if you knew that in the moment you can self-coach? Like you can think like, okay, stayed up a little late tonight, but I'm about to go to bed. I'm supposed to work out in the morning. I don't feel like going right now, but I know that in the moment I can take action because I know how to help hold myself accountable. I know how to just get started. I know the questions and the thoughts to think in order to get myself to start. Building that trust with yourself is going to change your life because you're going to stop quitting on yourself when things get hard. And the thing about it is success is not about doing everything perfectly. It's about understanding why you do what you do and learning how to coach yourself through it. So think about an area that you've been stuck in lately, whether it's food, consistency, getting in more steps throughout the day. I want you to notice what questions and what thoughts pop up when it's time to execute. So when it's time to plan your meals, what are you thinking about? When it is time to get your walk done, what are the sentences in your brain? I want you to notice how those sentences make you feel. And then I want you to ask yourself, what do I need to think to make this action feel lighter to do? What do I need to think to make me feel more powerful in this moment to just get started? That self-awareness, again, this is an ongoing relationship with yourself, is going to help you change your habits. And I just talked about on the previous episode, Ozempic, and I was talking about how Ozempic can help you lose weight, but it doesn't necessarily make you more healthy. Your habits are what make you healthy. Ozempic can make you stop feeling hungry, but they can't help you build better habits. That comes from you. And it starts with what you're thinking. So when you ask yourself quality questions, you change the quality of your actions, and that changes your result. So start practicing daily, especially when you feel like giving up or sabotaging your progress. I really just want you to coach yourself. Think about, what's my next right move? How could I make this easier? How could I just get started? What do I need right now? What's the worst that could happen? Why am I feeling afraid? Why am I procrastinating? This is going to help you regulate your emotions. So if you know that you need help with self-coaching, with regulating your emotions, with eating well, with creating a system that's going to lend itself to you getting to your maintenance weight and staying there, not being scared of losing it, of breaking free from emotional eating, from being stuck year after year. We're about to go back into January. Y'all, 2025 went by so fast. I can still remember me setting goals for January. We are back at almost another new year. It's crazy. This year went by way too fast. Are you going to spend another year trying to do this on your own? Are you going to spend another year trying to go vegan, going to keto, cutting out all sugar, going paleo? Like, haven't we done this? Girl, it is time. Okay. And if you are not joining during the Black Friday offer, which is already happening right now, that'll be your last time to join for this year. So I want you to really evaluate and ask yourself quality questions in this moment. This is a perfect time to practice. What is holding you back? Do I think that the Fit Figure formula can help me transform my life? What would I need to think or believe to go to the show notes and book an interest call, right? Like, what would that hurt, right? Like, if you went to the show notes and you filled out the form and you booked the call, how might that action actually change your life, even if you feel a little bit hesitant? How have you already been led to this moment? It's one of my favorite questions when someone has booked a call and I know that they know that I can help them and it looks like we're a good fit to work together, but they're scared. And they may say something like, oh, I need to pray about it, or, oh, I need to ask my husband. And it's like, how have you already been led to this moment? Because by the time someone books a call with me, you've probably listened to the podcast, you followed me on Facebook, you're watching my content in some kind of way. What I'm saying is resonating with you. But for some reason, you may not be booking the call. Maybe you're waiting for something. I don't know what that could be. Because we're talking about your actual life. There's no reason to wait to feel better. There's no reason to wait to invest in yourself. You're never going to regret eating better, moving better, pouring into yourself. It's going to feel great, and I cannot wait to help you. Head over to the link in the show notes to apply to join the Fit Figure formula. Let me help you be the woman that can ask the right questions, the woman who's going to ask quality questions, who is going to support and love herself and learn how to do all of those things better while she's losing weight, while she's lowering her A1C, while she's fitting into jeans that she hadn't fit in years. This health journey, girl, it's about you. Nobody can do this for you. You've got to stand up for your own self. You've got to say, hey, you know what? It's time to get support. And nutrition strategy is great. And that's exactly what I'm going to teach you inside the formula. But I also know that I need to change my mindset. And you can do that inside of the Fit Figure formula. So if this episode was helpful at all, send it in the group chat. Go ahead and share it to your Facebook story, your Instagram story, your TikTok story. Tell somebody about this episode. I can't wait to see your application come through, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for listening to the Fit Figure Formula podcast. If you're new here and you're struggling with your fitness journey, I invite you to take a super simple next step. Click the link in the show notes for a free training. If listening to this podcast has been helpful, imagine being inside the Formula Coaching Program. You can apply for coaching with the link in the show notes. I hope to see you inside.